Hi there, welcome to this lecture series on matrix algebra. This is lecture 24, part 2. In this part of the lecture, we will continue our discussion on the topic of powers of a matrix. Let's get started. First, we look at eigenvalues of the transposed matrix. Now let A be a m by n matrix, and AT is its transpose. Remember the property about the determinant of a matrix and its transpose? We have determinant of a matrix equal to determinant of the transpose of the matrix. Then we have the observation that the characteristic polynomial for finding the eigenvalue for A will be the determinant of A minus I lambda times I, and then the one for the A transpose will be A transpose minus lambda times I. And then if A is equal to its transpose, then these two are the same. So for both A and A transpose, to find the eigenvalues, we'll be solving the same characteristic polynomial. So from this simple computation, we see that the matrix A and the A transpose have the same characteristic polynomial, and therefore the eigenvalues are the same for both matrices. But be careful here, the eigenvalues are the same, but the eigenvectors of A and the A transpose may be different. Let's take an example. We take a matrix A, 2 by 2, which takes this form, and now we form the transpose by flipping these two elements, and we get A transpose. And now we can form the characteristic polynomial by computing the determinant of A minus lambda I or A transpose minus lambda I. Now we have the characteristic polynomial, which is a polynomial of degree 2, and it takes this form. And then we can factorize it and solve it. Note that 18 is 3 times 6, or negative 3 times negative 6, and which those two numbers adds up to be negative 9. So this will just be lambda minus 3 times lambda minus 6. Therefore, we obtain two eigenvalues. Let's say lambda 1 is 3 and lambda 2 is 6. We can now carry out the computation for the eigenvectors of A with those two eigenvalues. So we are familiar with this computation, so I will skip the details, and we will obtain two eigenvectors. V1 would be 1, 4, and V2 would be 1 and 1. And carry out the same computation for A transpose, and to find the eigenvectors for lambda 1 and lambda 2, let's call them W1 and W2, and this is what we will get. So we observe that they are not the same. Somehow the eigenvector for one and the other seem to look a bit similar, but with some different sign, and also here. And in fact, we observe that there is this orthogonality relation. Look at V1 and W2, and you do an inner product of those two, you will get 1 times 4 plus 4 times negative 1, which is 0. So they're orthogonal. And then W1 and V2 also have that relation. If you do the inner product, you get 1 times 1 plus negative 1 times 1, which is 0. In fact, now that observation about orthogonality of the eigenvectors are actually a more general property. So let's give a statement for the theorem. Eigenvectors of A and A transpose corresponding to distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal to each other. More specifically, if I have A times vi equal to lambda I times v, so that lambda I and the vi are a eigenvalue eigenvector pair for the A matrix, and then wj's and the lambda j's are the eigenvalue and the eigenvector for A transpose. And then assuming now we take two distinct ones, so that I does not equal to j, so lambda I does not equal to lambda j. Then in that case, the inner product of the wj with the vi will be 0. Now let's provide a proof for that. Let's compute the quantity wj transpose times A times vi. So A times vi would be a column vector times the transpose of wj. This will be a row vector. In the end, this becomes a number, a scalar number. Okay, so that's a remark. So to compute this, we can now group the last two first and do this product first. So we have A times vi in the bracket, and we notice that vi is the eigenvector here. So this quantity would be lambda I times vi, so let's put it here. And now we have a vector, a scalar number, and the vector. So I can move the scalar number in the front and do the vector product first. So I get this expression. So lambda I is out, and then I will have wj dot vi. That will be the inner product. And then we can also compute this same quantity in a different way. We can group the first two terms together. We do this product first and then multiply by vi afterwards. Okay, so that's what we wrote. So we put a bracket around that, which is wj transpose times A. So there is a transpose on the wj. So now we are going to use the properties of the transpose of the product. So the transpose of the product of the transpose, and we view A as A transpose transpose twice. Okay, and then this will equal to, we'll switch the order, we'll have A transpose times wj and transpose. So this one equal to that by the property of the transpose. And now we see we have A transpose times wj, and then we use the assumption that wj is an eigenvector for A transpose corresponding to lambda j. So we'll get this. So let's put that one in and times vi. And then here in this expression, we see that lambda j is a scalar number, and this is a row vector, and that's a column vector. So we can write this as lambda j times wj dot vi, the inner product. So now we have computed, and we found two different expressions for this same quantity. So this quantity can be computed by this, and the same quantity can be computed by this expression as well. Now we can subtract the two equations. So this equation says this number equal to that, and this say this number equal to that. And therefore, if we subtract, so this minus that, which is 0, it would equal to this minus that. And then in these two expressions, we see that the inner product is a common factor, so we take it out, and what remains is lambda I minus lambda j. And then finally, we can use the assumption that these eigenvalues are distinct. So lambda I does not equal to lambda j. So this quantity is non-zero, and therefore this quantity must be 0. So the inner product of wj and vi is 0, and therefore the two vectors are orthogonal to each other. And this completes the proof. We now take a look at matrices with the same eigenvectors. Here is a theorem. Let A be a n by n matrix with eigenvalues and the eigenvectors that we have computed. So lambda 1 to lambda n, eigenvalues and eigenvectors v1 to vn. And then for any number c, which is the scalar number, we can have this matrix A plus c times identity. Then for this matrix, you don't need to compute its eigenvalue and eigenvector anymore. You can use this existing result. Your eigenvalue would simply be all the eigenvalues plus a c. So lambda 1 plus c, lambda 2 plus c, and lambda n plus c. And the eigenvectors remain the same, it's unchanged, has the same eigenvector as the A matrix. So we can do a simple proof. We start with the assumption that these are eigenvalue and eigenvector. Take any index I, we'll have this relation AVI equal to lambda IV. If that holds, then let's check this new matrix A plus CI times VI. So we can distribute the product. So we'll get A times VI plus C identity times VI, and the identity doesn't do anything, so it's just C times VI. And then A times VI is just lambda I times VI. So we put that in. And then here we see that that's a scalar multiple of VI, it's a scalar multiple of VI. We can combine these two into one vector with this scalar number in the front. And then this expression exactly says this matrix times VI equal to this number times VI. Therefore, lambda I plus C is the eigenvalue and VI is the eigenvector for this new matrix A plus CI. Let's do a simple example for a 2 by 2 matrix. So this is our example. It's A. To find its eigenvalue, we can put in the P of lambda characteristic polynomial, which is the determinant of A minus lambda I here, and work it out. You get that, and you can even factorize it to get this form. And then you see that one lambda is 0, the other lambda is -1. Now let's form a B matrix, which is A plus 5i. So we add 5 on the diagonal. So we'll get this 7 and 2, and then the rest is the same. Carrying out the same computation, form the polynomial by computing the determinant here, and we get a polynomial of degree 2 in lambda, and then we factorize it. And then we see that now we have two eigenvalues. One is 5 and the other is 4. So we can compare these two eigenvalues to see if the theorem holds. And in fact, we see we do. So lambda 1, because we added 5 here, lambda 1 plus 5 is mu1, the new eigenvalue. And then lambda 2 plus 5 will be 4, which is mu2. Okay, so at least in this case, for this simple 2 by 2 matrix, we see that the statement of the theorem holds, so we verified it. So this is the end of this lecture. Next time we will look at some applications using these properties, in particular in connection with the powers of matrices. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and I will see you next time.